For the past 2 years or so, I have been using a Note device. First of all, the Note 8 and then the Note 9. But I've wanted a Note since going back to the Note 2. I just wasn't sure I could justify the extra price for the sake of having a little stylus, a little piece of plastic that I wasn't sure whether I would use it or not. But I made the jump 2 years ago and honestly can say I've never looked back. The S Pen has become such a huge thing for me that it's honestly ruined other phones. Whenever I think about going to a different phone, I might see a phone that I like the look of, or I might watch a good review on a phone and I just think, yeah, that looks brilliant. Whether it's a better camera or a better display, an incredibly long battery, just brilliant software. But I always come back to, can I live without this? Honestly, yes, I could live without it. Take it away from me, I'm not going to die. But I know it's a big part of my everyday life. Whenever I watch reviews, they always talk about how they never find themselves using it. Like big YouTubers will always say, every time they get a Note device, they try and use it, but after a few weeks, they don't. It just ends up in the phone, which I get because there's a bit of a learning curve when it comes to the S Pen. Full disclosure, when I first got the Note 8, I barely used it. The first week, I was taking it out all the time and I was using it, just pulling it out of the phone just because it was new and it was exciting and I was glad to finally have one because no phones come with one. But after a few weeks, it kind of just faded off into obscurity and stayed inside the phone. In work, people will call up and I will always need to take a few notes about the conversation I'm having, whether it's a contact number, a name, a registration of a car that they're interested in, or passing the message on to a colleague. So I always find myself scrambling about looking for a pen and the pen doesn't work, find another pen, get a little piece of paper that's insignificant I don't have to worry about writing on the back of, and then sometimes it gets lost or misplaced, and I also just don't like wasting paper. So it took a bit of muscle memory to reach for the Note instead of a piece of paper and a pen, and even something as simple as that becomes a game changer. The pen works with or without the battery, which we'll get to in a moment, but the Note 8 didn't have a battery at all. It doesn't run out of ink, doesn't need charging to work like the Apple Pencil, and the screen's always there. So I don't need to find something to do it. I'm not rushing about. I can just pull the pen out, make the note I need, and put the pen back. Simples. So after a few weeks of consciously reminding myself, use the phone, don't use a pen, use the phone, don't use a pen, it became second nature. I've never gone back. And that ability to make notes outside of work is just as useful. Unlock the phone, go to a notes app, type on a keyboard, save the note, and then lock the phone. With screen on notes, that's just not a thing. You take it out and the note's there ready to make, and you put the pen away and it saves automatically. That's intuitive. That's how it should be to take a note. As simple as taking out a notebook, grabbing a pen and writing it down. There's no saving, there's no remembering where you put a certain app or anything like that. It's just simple, and that's part of its beauty. But there's other things for the S Pen too. For example, I don't screenshot like I used to. The whole pressing the power button and the volume down button or whatever it is on whatever device you're using isn't a thing for me anymore. And just don't do it. Whenever I see something I want to share, whether it's a tweet, an Instagram picture, a caption from an article, a message I've received, rather than screenshot it and then just send the whole screen so we can see my notifications and the clock and it just looks messy, or I can crop it down and then send it. I find it easy just to take the pen out and there's an option that pops up, just tap that, select the area you want to send, and then the bottom menu comes up whether you want to just save it, when you want to draw on it, or like just make a few notes on it, and then obviously the option to share. That to me is a lot easier, and it's just what I do every time. So as soon as I see something that I want to share, that's the way I choose to do it. 12 months ago, the Note 9 comes out, and in a lot of people's eyes, it was more gimmicky because of the S Pen having Bluetooth. It was just more expensive and something that people aren't going to use. Samsung only really talked about the fact that you could use it as a shutter button to take pictures or start recording video, and you can double press it to flip to the selfie camera or vice versa. People didn't think it was useful, but as someone who's had the phone for 12 months now, I will tell you it genuinely is useful to have. Whether you're taking a family picture with the phone on a tripod, or you're taking a selfie, it's more useful to have this as a shutter button than the screen shutter button. Have you ever tried taking a family picture with everyone using the timer with 2 young kids? It's difficult getting everyone to sit still and nicely in like a 5-second timer or a 10-second timer to get bored and run off. Taking a selfie on a large device like the Note, you often get blurred pictures as you struggle to do some hand gymnastics to reach the shutter button. So it's much easier to just have that by your side and boom. Not that this ugly mug takes a lot of selfies. Outfit of the day pictures for girls just got a lot easier. Prop your phone up and use the S Pen. So it got written off pretty quickly by every YouTuber and reviewer going, but there's more to it than that. I'll use it, sometimes I've got videos playing on my desk in work or on the kitchen side, and I'll have the S Pen with me so I can just press the button to pause the video or pause the song, and it's a lot easier to do that than go over to the phone and press the screen, especially sometimes your hands are wet. The S Pen is waterproof, so if my hands are wet, I'd rather, or if I'm cooking, I'd rather just press the S Pen, which I can wipe clean easier than getting the screen wet or greasy or whatever and marking it up. It's handier, it's easier to have this than it is to go over to the phone. It's one of those things, it's a bit cliche, but you don't know you're missing out on it until you have it. And then you start to use it more and you start to think of more uses. But thinking of the uses before you have it, I'll admit, is difficult. Finally, the Note 10 has just been announced with upgraded S Pen, including air gestures. So what this is using your pen like it's a wand. To be fair, as cheesy as it sounds, is the best way to describe it. Again, they've shown it a lot with the camera, so you can use it to zoom in by doing that. You can use it to swipe through modes by doing this, so video, picture, live focus. That's the main thing people are focusing on, and is anyone going to use that? How many people are going to take pictures in that way? Some will. Some people, some vloggers and Instagrammers will use that. I think it's quite clever of Samsung to have a travel blogger talk about it, because that is a real world use. However, again, there is more to it. When I was using this months ago and playing music and pausing music, I thought, I like the song, if only I could rewind it, start it again, or if only I could turn the volume up. With the Note 10, I will be able to do that. It's something a lot of people wouldn't have thought of using, but again, once you use it, it will seem quite intuitive. And there is no point in being able to play and pause music from the other side of the room with the S Pen if you can't rewind a song or skip a song, or you can't turn the volume up or down. If you still have to get up to do some things, you might as well get up to do all the things. With air gestures, possibly a thing of the past. Depends if and when developers bring that feature to the Note, but I think this is a feature that's going to stay around on the S Pen. In the next month or so, I'm going to get my hands on the Note 10 Plus 5G, and I'm going to put it to the test. I'm going to see what I can do with it and what apps have implemented it, if any. Hopefully Spotify, YouTube, Netflix, Google Photos. I think they're the main ones. Hopefully they do something with it. Obviously there's other apps there as well that could possibly bring it into focus. Cheesy pun. So you want to see my thoughts on the air gestures, you want to see what they are like when the phone comes out, make sure you subscribe. Let me know in the comments below what you think of the S Pen. Do you think it's just a gimmick, or can you see it being a real use? Have you ever been interested in using one, and have you tried it before in the past, and was it easy to let go? Interestingly, I will put money on the fact that you don't have to wave your arm like this, like a lot of people have been doing in videos, to use the air gestures. I think you're going to be able to scroll through your gallery with a simple twitch to the side. It's going to be a bit more of a swish and flick.
The swish and flick.
Than it will be a waving your arms like you just don't care. That's just my opinion. I might be wrong. You may have to do this to go through pictures in your gallery. You may have to do this to turn the volume up, and this to zoom in. However, I think it'll be a lot more subtle. I mean, it's 2019. Accelerometers are pretty good, right? Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.